Welcome back to another part 4 of the rebuild on our Mercruiser 4.3 V6 engine. Thank you all for staying with me through all these videos. I really do appreciate the thumbs up. I'm going to give a shout out to Anthony and Mercedes. Another shout out to Kelvin. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for subscribe. We really appreciate that. Right now we've gotten to where we did our last video on putting on the one-piece rear main seal. Got it in, showed a video how to do it. Real easy, not that hard. Got her done. The next thing today we're going to do is the oil pan. Most of you guys know how to do oil pans, but you might not know how to do it on a Mercruiser, or you might not know how to do it my way. And my way is not always the right way. If you don't like it, take the highway. Just kidding. Anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I measure my oil pump filter and the depth to the oil pan. So I take the oil pan, I'll raise this all the way up a little bit. It's a little loose in here. I've already pre-measured this and already set it in its place. It's already got gasket sealant in there. Hold it in tight. So I've already mounted it. It's perfect. But if you haven't done it and you got this filter loose, you actually want to bring it up as high as you can, you know, without being too obvious that it's too high. Take your oil pan and you're going to set it down right over that filter. Set it on the bolts. Now most times, because I've already reset this, most times it'll raise it up a little bit. That oil pan will go up a little bit. So you push down on the oil pan till it's flat, and then that will bring that filter, that oil filter arm, just down a little bit. Now it's going to be hitting bottom of your oil pan. So you want to come down another half an inch. They say half an inch to an inch is who they are. You know who they are? They are the ones who asked me to be the spokesman for them. That's who they are. So basically you're bringing it down to flat on the oil pan bottom, then bring it down a quarter of an inch, half an inch, sometimes even an inch, depending on how big your filter is. You don't want it touching the bottom. You want it off the bottom. Okay, so that's how you set your filter. Now we're going to talk about putting on the oil pan gasket. I like to put a little bit of sealant before and after. What I mean by that, before I put the gasket on, I'll throw a little bit in the corners here. This thing hardens up really fast. Alright, bear with me. Hey, alright. Yeah, I get a lot of extra dried up gook in there. Alright, there we go. Now we got it. We got it working now. Yeah, this thing seals up pretty good, pretty fast. There. Okay. So what I like to do is I'll get some gasket sealant, ultra black, oil resistant. I'll put it right in the corners. Just before I put on my gasket, I like to put it on the corners in the front, right around that little stud. Doesn't hurt it. If anything, it helps it. I have not had a leak on my oil pans in many years because I keep doing the same method. Alright, there we go. We're in business. I'll do the same to this side over here. Now, I don't want a lot because you want that gasket to seal down tight. I'll even put it in here just a little, all the way down, so we get a nice tight sealant on the front. Same thing for the back. I'll just put a little bit in there, all around that stud in the back. Some of them oil pans have studs on the Mercruiser 4.3, some don't. I got studs on the front and back. If you don't have those metal studs, every oil pan gasket that I've ordered from Felpro comes with the orange plastic studs you screw in front and back. Man, those are a nice guide. Never used to have them back in the day. Back in the day, you had to get that just right, get them bolts sit in there just right, and you had to torque it just right. Otherwise, you'd pop a leak. All right, we're making a little bit of a mess here, but we're on target. Alright, let's get this out of the way. We'll come back to this. Okay, so now I'm going to take my oil pan gasket. Does it go on however you want it to? I don't think so. It only goes on one way. You got the front, you got the back. You see the front side is smaller and the back side is a lot bigger. Make sure you get it on the right way. I think I got it on the wrong way. Yep, but it only goes on one way. There we go. Now we're talking. So the larger side goes to the front, around the timing chain cover. And then the smaller side goes towards the one-piece rear main seal. Okay, we're not over yet. Like I said, I like to make this extra good. I don't want no oil coming out nowhere. So what's important, like I said in my earlier videos, is to make videos, not vittles, to make sure you got this thing sealed as best as possible. Again, I'll throw some more gasket sealant around the back stud on both sides. I'll do a little bit in the middle, not a whole lot. You don't need a whole lot in that middle because you got a rubber gasket there that's going to squeeze down nice and tight. But for sealant purposes, it doesn't hurt. It does not hurt the block. It does not hurt anything. To put a little around those studs. I don't put it in the main. I don't put it along here. I don't need to do that. But I will put it around these studs where I tighten down my nuts. And I'll go up over the top just a little. Nice thin coat. Alrighty. And then this last one right around the stud again. That's mostly where your oil leaks come from, is around these studs. Sometimes you torque down the nut too tight, or you don't do the right sequence, or something throws that corner, either corner off or the back corner, and you're stuck. Yes, sir, you are stuck. We're trying to figure out what the heck, what went wrong, you know? That's always the key. You ask yourself, what went wrong? Where did I tighten too tight? Where didn't I tighten enough? How come it's not sealing properly? You do it right the first time. There we go. It's nice and tight. Okay. So the next step is I got these little oil pan bars. They actually are shims. I like using these. It gives a real nice tight surface and you can tighten metal to metal. Really good. So I use these. You got one side, and they fit right on. I mean, there's no other way to put them on, just one way. It tightens them down. Pretty sure. Yep, there's no other way. So it's got the large loop. The large loop to the old pan is over here. And then the smaller, with no loop, goes here. And you can tell which way it goes because most of the time they got a lot of metal paint. The paint is moved around the bolts. Now, for these little oil pan bolts, once again, I gotta make sure I got everything I need. These oil pan bolts, a nice small little, I think they're 3/8. I'll put a little bit of sealant around them, stick them down in there. All right, all the way around. Nice little bit of sealant. All right. Yep. Just a little dab will do you. Anybody remember that? Anybody out there use that old Bill cream? Man, that's back in the 60s. My dad used to take me to the barber shop. He only had one kind of haircut. Brush cut. Anybody know about a brush cut? He'd shave our heads down almost bald. That's back in the 60s. Clean cut, clean shaven. That's how them old school parents floated, you know. Heck, I wore a bow tie in school. I was in 2nd, 3rd grade, bow ties. Are you kidding me? Heck, I could have been Ross Perot's best buddy. He likes the bow tie. Anyway, so we just put a little bit of sealant, give it that extra nice protection from any oil leak. Okay, there we go. I think we got one more here. Alrighty, we're ready. Okay, where are we? Where'd that one go? There we are. Okay, now what I like to do, because of that shim, it makes it up a little higher than normal. There's a couple more I missed. Anyway, you got these 4 nuts here, and I'll just go ahead and put them on right away. You get these here on the corners tightened down, it gives you a lot easier opportunity to tighten the shims down all the way around correctly. All right, that's how I float. Whoop. These things are a little bit bent. That one ain't going down. So, let's see what we got here. Alright. Yeah, there's one in every crowd, you know. Stubborn. That's alright. We'll get her. We'll get her done. Okay. Now, I like to tighten those down a little bit more. Gives me an advantage to get the middle ones done. So yeah, we can do finger tight. That's all you need. Just to get the shim to flatten out. That way you can get to the other ones a lot easier. The littler ones, the smaller ones, to get them tightened down. Alright. There we go. Now, where is one bolt? Oh, there it is. Knew there was one missing. Let me see what we got here. Alright. So we'll go right here in the middle. Start on this one. And then I'll cross over. You do back and forth, left to right, front to back. You know, just tighten them down. Go to the next one behind it. Hand tight. Okay? Go to the next one. Okay, the next one there, back. There we go. Nice and tight. Hand tight. I mean, I could put a socket on here and do it that way. You know, some guys got a little socket thing that winds around. I don't know the name of that, but that's a good tool. There's tools for everything nowadays. You know, back in the day, we didn't have a whole lot of sockets. We had some, but mostly it was a wrench. Everything you did was with a wrench and physical labor. We didn't have no impact wrenches and wireless this and wireless that. Yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for 50 years. Working on about everything you can imagine. Alright, so we got that done. Now we're going to come back on it. Of course, I didn't bring my wrench. Impact wrench. Socket wrench. We're running out of time. Now I'm going to tighten it down right now so you guys can see how I do it again, which is pretty self-explanatory. But don't over tighten. Take your time. You want a nice good seal all the way around that oil pan. Just go back and forth. Nice stuff. We'll torque them down later once we get them snug. Okay? And then we'll set it overnight. We ain't gonna put no oil in it. We ain't gonna touch it. We'll leave that oil pan on overnight. Let it seal up nice and tight. Let that gasket seal it. Harden. There's no rush in doing these things like this. I'm telling you. Used to go fast in doing all this. Over tighten, not tighten enough, not doing the right sequence. All the time. You know, you don't have to do that no more. Take your time. Okay, now we go towards the front. This side here. Make sure I got this side, yeah. All right, this one here. Then we jump over here. You get a nice snug oil pan gasket. No leaks, baby, no leaks. Like I said before in the other videos, that's the bear. When you do all that work, you put it all together. You put it back in the car or boat or whatever you put your engine in. And then you go to fire it up. The oil starts coming out. That's the worst feeling. Some of you guys can relate to that. You know, oil covers is not an issue. Oil covers you can take back off, put back on, put new stuff on it. Yeah, oil covers is not an issue. All right. One more time, we can do the front. Nice and snug. Nice and snug. You should be able to see just a tiny little bit of that oil gasket we put on it come out around the edges. That means you got a good, clean seal. You wipe off the excess with a rag. Make it nice and clean. Alright, we're just about done. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these one more time, all the way, all four corners. Okay? And then I'm going to come back and torque them. So anyways, we got the oil pan on. We're going to start rebuilding the top end on the next video. Yeah, everything's good. Harmonic balancer is really good. Set in there. Everything's good on the bottom end. Got everything sealed up. Stay tuned for the next video of building a MerCruiser 4.3 V6 engine. Hot diggity dog. Don't forget to subscribe.